as a sign of weakness and lack of spine on your part. Some people have convinced themselves so much of the righteousness and the the sanctity of their cause, and I mean the divine nature of their cause, that you cannot hope to reach out to them through reason. And if that belief also comes in the way of the existence of civilizational identities, I don't think it makes sense to hope that peace will do the trick, or even economics for that matter will do the trick. Economics as a carrot can be offered, but the stick must be wielded as often and as clearly as possible without an iota of guilt or compunction. So during the course of a preparation for a lecture on Hindu justice systems, I went through the translations of William Jones and other people on what they thought of our justice delivery system, because the much reviled Manu is seen as one of the foremost lawmakers. And there are, let's say, perhaps plaques and quotes dedicated to him in what we constantly look up to, London. Okay? Not that it makes a difference to me. I'd prefer that there are plaques and quotes for him in Bharat, not in London. Now, coming to the question of what he said, Hindus as a community are mild in disposition, but that is in stark contrast to the emphasis on punishment in its criminal justice system. The importance and deterrent value of punishment is underscored heavily in our justice delivery systems. And therefore, there are two ways of addressing this. Let's hope that the first way and the most preferred way is the constitutional and the legal way. The state needs to take a very clear position that this nonsense will not be tolerated under any circumstances, even in an educational campus, the moment you are over the age of 18. Doesn't matter. Bacche hai, students hai, does not make a difference, will not be tolerated. It cannot and should not be tolerated under any circumstances. Anyone who resorts to that kind of secessionism must be ostracized in their own immediate vicinity. And that is the society. The state will do its job of bringing the hammer down on the bloody head. That's a different issue, but the society must also respond. Because it's not just about the state and the integrity of the statist infrastructure, it is as much about your survival as a society. So the society must take a position. So the society has been a passive whining stakeholder in this entire equation. हम क्या करें? करने के बहुत सारी चीजें, तरीके हैं, lawfully, legally, constitutionally, peacefully. But the message must be sent. This is not acceptable. You can only ask for anything which has as its precondition that you will remain a part of this country. Anything else that leads remotely in the direction of secession is off the table and is non-negotiable. That's it. That's one. Two, illegal migration, specifically in Jammu, is not a matter of coincidence. It's not a matter of happenstance. According to me, it's a very clear, calculated design. Does it seem like a conspiracy theory? Okay. What are people from the Uyghur province doing in Kashmir and Jammu? Why have they been given special cards? Kashmiri Pandits and Hindus don't seem to get the very same treatment that people from China get. The manner in which the right to, let's say, vestation of citizenship under the previously evil Article 35A needs to be questioned. And somehow people find the way to come all the way from Arakan, Myanmar to Jammu. दिल्ली में भी है, छोड़ दो. मैं ये कह रहा हूँ that from here to there ये क्या रास्ता है भाई? And आपका मार्ग कौन प्रशस्त कर रहा है? बीच में कितने लोग बैठे हैं आपके लिए डॉक्यूमेंट्स तैयार करने के लिए? read the report of Lieutenant General Sinha in the context of illegal migration in Assam, 85 to 98, how many groups were set up to create documents? Are you surprised at the results of the NRC of Assam? I am not. Not one bit. सारी तैयारी हो चुकी है, जो करना है कर लो, कागज तो निकल जाएंगे, इस पे तो कागज निकल जाएंगे. So, you see, the problem is people really don't know the extent of illegal migration, and even the government is giving very conservative figures. If you look at the figures that were given in 1998 in that report, and that report, while it was meant for Assam, spoke of Delhi, spoke of Maharashtra, spoke of Mumbai and so many places, वो 98 की बात है. 2008, 2018 and 2022. It has only gotten better. You go to this remote part of Tamil Nadu called Kadalur. Please go and find out if there are people from the Rohingya origin there or not. Please go to Goa. Please go to Chembur. So, we are being told even this is something that we don't have the right to raise. Someone comes to this country for livelihood or because they're being persecuted, even then I would say we should be fairly careful given the hostile neighborhood that we live in. This is not the United States of America, which is bounded by the Pacific Ocean and Atlantic Ocean. We live next to China, Bangladesh and Pakistan. You need to be very, very careful. So, I think the first step is to be clear about who you think is the insider and who you think is the outsider insofar as this discussion is concerned. The stupidity is, proponents and supporters of illegal migration in this country take the very same position of Hollywood. Because they're saying, immigration brings in diversity. अरे immigration और illegal migration के बीच का अंतर नहीं समझ में आता है तुमको? What is there between your ears? Is it a blessed hollow? Why should illegal migration receive any kind of protection? Illegal migration can translate to the status of refugee, provided there are circumstances which result in creation of refugees. What circumstances in Bangladesh translate to creation of refugee status here? If at all it has to be the refugee status, it has to be the minority population whose numbers are dwindling there. So, I think on illegal migration, we need a very clear separate law commission or a separate study which undertakes a census exclusively of illegal migrants. It needs to come out. People from outside of Kashmir cannot go to Kashmir because it apparently changes the inherent indigenous demographics of Kashmir. But that argument is inapplicable to Bharat as a whole. Very surprising and selective. Why should that be even remotely acceptable? So, in 2017, much before these issues came about, and we were among the first interveners in this Mohammad Salimullah case, I think a portal ran a piece on how this is a xenophobic position, this is an Islamophobic position, this and that and everything else. They kept peppering that entire article with labels, but not a single credible logical counter. Give me a legal counter to what I've said. Which principle of international law under which instrument requires me to put and let's say subject my own country to this kind of silent invasion? Please tell me that. Which statute do you want to resort to? What doctrine of non-refoulement actually permits and supports this? I really don't understand. The first exception to the principle of non-refoulement is national security, domestic security. You get to carve out an exception saying, I'm sorry, I am not going to open myself up to a crucible under any circumstances. Bangladesh can seem to take the position with respect to Rohingyas, but in India is not afforded the very same position.